let's talk about art studios. Do you need one? Is it practical? In my case, because I'm a full-time artist, I do this as my sole income in my profession, and it's my hobby and what I love to do, and I'm so excited about it. So for me, yes, having an art studio space that is my own is very super important. Now, a long time ago, I pretty much just used the kitchen and my bedroom when I was a young teenager. But now that I'm an adult, I've grown up and I have my own space. So let me explain to you what mine looks like and how I utilize my space so that I get the most bang for my buck. So first of all, I own my house. It's a really nice home, so I'm able to do whatever I want with my house. I decided that I needed a big space, but my main criteria was I needed a large space and I needed lots of windows and natural light. So because of this, I ended up converting my attic into an art studio, which is totally cool. It's very unexpected too. So whenever I have guests over, it's like my house and it's all normal, like a normal house. And then bam, we go up into the attic and it's a total cool hangout spot. So I have wood floors on my attic, which are great because I paint. I do all different kinds of art, but for the most part, painting is more my style. So I have wood floors that I don't mind getting paint on or messing up or anything. In the end of the day, in 50 years from now, my floor will start looking like Jackson Pollock, kind of inspired with paint splatters all over the place. And it's already starting to kind of have that look, and I really like it. It's a very interesting, like I don't waste my paint or anything, but just in case it spills, I let it dry. I don't pick it up right away because usually I'm the only person in the art studio, so there's really no need. I just let it dry, and then it just has a nice little, like, I meant to do that paint splatter effect, and it's coming along pretty cool. Is more areas than other areas. Some areas, the paint is not in that area of the room, so it doesn't really make sense for to be like a whole design motif. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is I feel that an art studio needs to have a floor that you don't mind getting destroyed. If you get like paint or let's say you're a wood carver or something, and you accidentally drop like a tool and you just totally scuffs up your floor. I mean, whatever, right? You should need a space that the floor is whatever and you don't have to be stressing about it. Okay, so another thing that I thought was very important was natural light. So since it's the attic, I got windows on two sides that are on the front and the back part of the house. And then I also have kind of like this lofty area on the one side, so I have windows there. It would be nice to have 360 windows, but my house it doesn't. I got a roof and it's a metal roof and all that. So, I mean, at least I got what I got, right? So what I did was the area in which I utilize most often, I have tables and I have a chair. I have a couple chairs set up there, very comfortable ones to sit in. And I have windows that are up against that corner right there on the one side. And then since on that little corner edge of the art studio, I don't have other windows like behind me that are like right there readily available, I went ahead and splurged a little bit and I found myself a light stand that comes up and it kind of hangs over a little bit. It's on the side of the table, but up and over. And it's a circle light, like the actual light itself is a ring. So that's pretty cool. And it's got a lot of different variances that I can change with if I want a lot of yellow tones or if I want to go very bright and white. So I can kind of, change it for what I need, which usually I'm all the way in the spectrum of natural light. I don't really use it in the yellow ranges. But anyway, so that's cool. And then that really helps me also in the nighttime. Now, I have found over the course of the years, I've tried many different light bulbs. And in the end of the day, It's never as good as actually being outside with the natural light 100% around you. I mean, it gets close, but it's still, I mean, I can tell a little bit of a difference. I do have good vision, so I can see the difference. I think if I had to wear glasses, then probably I wouldn't notice it as much. So I have my tables. I have 2 big plastic tables, one side by side. They're side by side from each other, and I cover them with paper and I tape it down on the bottom so that way I can destroy them. And they're like cheap plastic tables too. They're 6 feet long. So if I destroy the tables, I'm not going to freak out about it. Like, I'm totally like, whatever, you know, if I accidentally get a hole or a rip in the paper, it's kind of like, yeah, whatever. So I really think that, yeah, take a moment and don't put fancy furniture, things that you want destroyed. Because, yeah, I've destroyed pretty much everything because I get in a moment and I don't pay attention and I'm all into what I'm doing. So that's another thing for the art studio. Okay, so I have my art studio in sections where I have the work area for painting. And then also, you know me, I'm sure you've seen my videos and stuff like that. I do a lot of filming. So what I did was, in the middle part of the room, I ended up building a stand to be able to have a backdrop hanging, and I have many different backdrops. And then I stand in front of it and I paint, and then I also Bob Ross style, where I do my videos. And I have that light that I was telling you about that comes up and over my table when I'm creating. I move that over and it's a really good studio light. Sometimes I will dim it only for a few, like if I'm not painting, and then I'll get some other little tones in there. So that way it warms it up. But mostly I'm pretty much stay to the brighter side of things. And then I do have another table and a chair for if I have a buddy come hang out with me. Every once in a while, I'll have one of my girlfriends or my daughter. I'll have somebody that'll just come and chill and hang out with me when I'm creating. So I also made a little space so that they can participate with me, or they can just kind of sit there and do their own thing. And like sometimes my daughter will sit there and do her homework. And I don't know, it's just cool to have it in an inviting atmosphere. Okay, so then behind that, I have a few tables that I set out that go along the side of the wall, and on those tables, I put all of my supplies, so like my paints and my brushes and everything. And I do have it quite orderly. I like to, it's, I guess, my personality. I don't think that I'm OCD, but I've noticed within myself that if I have my station nice and pretty and ready to go, then I am more apt to create more art. I get less stressed and I'm just free to do whatever it is in the moment that I'm creating. But if I walk into my art studio and it's just a mess and I have things everywhere, it's like so frustrating. And then I get into this mode, before I can use my stuff, I got to clean it all up so I can make me a space on the table and stuff like that. And then I just don't create. I mean, it's the same concept as walking into a kitchen and having dirty dishes and having to wash all your dishes and pans before you're able to cook something. It's annoying. It's just super, super annoying to me. So what I did was I have my tables. I have 3 tables and they're all in a row, and they have each table, like one table is the brush table. And I think that I do have quite a bit more supplies than the average person. But then again, this is my full-time profession and 100% of how I pay all of my bills, and I don't want to be a broke loser. So I have invested a lot of money and time and effort into sourcing good products so that way I can continue to do what I'm doing. So I do have quite the selection of brushes. I try to cycle through my paint, so I don't buy a whole lot of it. I just buy it as I need it because that stuff does deteriorate over time. But I have that section. Then I use like my little paper plates, and I have some paper cups and different things. And I've started using pitchers this past year. Oh my goodness. I love using pitchers over cups of water because then I could just dump them out. I usually try to dump out in the summertime. Instead of going down my drain, I'll go outside and dump out the paint water on my weeds. And actually that's worked. Yes, I'm giving water to weeds, but there's chemicals in those paint. So like right on the sidewalk where I have the weeds growing, it works so well. You need to try it. But anyways, the pitcher, it just makes it user friendly, right? And then it's harder to knock over a pitcher because I'm sure you've seen them in my videos. They're small ones. And they're harder to knock over than if I just had like a little cup. And so, like, because the center of gravity is low on the pitcher because of this. It's also the style of pitcher I'm using. So, anyways, on one of the tables, I do have a little section where I've started collecting them. I do teach classes in public. So, I will do a paint and sip party somewhere. And I'll bring over my little, my pictures. And it's kind of fun, artsy, I guess. It is a little bit more dishes to do. It is. It's annoying that way. But it's kind of funky and it's my thing. So because of that, I've designated an area of the table where I have my pictures. And they're all ready to go. And they're clean. So if I have to go and do a show, I don't have to go wash it and clean and everything. So I have that. And then I have another table that is designated office table where I have my printer and office supplies, and I have my business cards and my flyers and different things, and they're ready to go. Like, it's all orderly, so I can just, if I'm gonna be out and about somewhere and I want to put some flyers down, I have them all in a stack ready to go. They're right there. Let's see. I also, because I fully believe that I'm still a student, I'm still learning. I don't think I'll ever stop being a student as long as I live. I'm always, all the time, trying to make my art and stretch it and push it and get new ideas and remember old ideas that I liked. And so because of that, underneath the table, I have, it's, what do they call it? It's like a box. It's a chest. And in there, I have books from when I went to college and different things that are on the topics that interest me that I've read. They're all books I've read, and I keep them so I can reference them later. And they're underneath the table, so that way, because, I try to memorize it, so it's not like I have to access them that often. But they're right there, ready to go when I need them. Sometimes I like to pass them on to some of my students. I'll allow some of my students to borrow them, but I'm very, very diligent that I get them back because I have them, because I like them. They're books that I need. So if you're going to lend out your stuff, make sure you get it back. Okay, so then on the other side of the room from where those tables are, I have some boxes that I've set up, and what these are is dedicated so that when I paint paintings, every single time I paint, I'm always putting my best effort. I'm really working it. And, sometimes paintings are good, sometimes they're not so good. And so I use these boxes as the ones that I'm like, yeah, okay, it's not my favorite. I think I could have done better, or I want to try it again. And so those paintings end up going in these boxes. Now later, whenever it comes around that I want to do a craft fair, or I'm going to do a gallery showing or something, I have all these paintings that, they're all right. They're still good paintings. And so they're there. And then that way I have less stress later, because then I'm like, oh, I got this. I got a whole box of these paintings. Now, I do have them also categorized in size too, because sometimes when you're in a gallery, they're going to have specifications on how is the canvas going to hang on the wall? What do they have, nails in the wall? Are they hanging wires off the ceiling that are more like clips? So because of that, I categorize it so then later I don't have to be going through a million things to find the paintings that are going to fit the dimensions of what I need for that gallery. And then also I like to categorize them within theme. And I know this sounds like a headache. It really does. But it's actually not. What it is I got my boxes, And then as I paint a painting and it dries, and I usually like to varnish my paintings, and then it's there and I do one painting at a time. It's very rare that I'll start more than one painting at a time. I usually just work on one piece. So then I make a decision at the end. Do I like it? Do I not? And then from there, I take it and I just file it in the correct box that goes for size and for type of painting that it is. Like if it's a people painting or a flowers. So it's really easy. So I'm spending literally no time at all. I'm just filing it in the correct spot. And this really helps later. Trust me. I used to have big headaches before a show. And then when I started doing that, it makes things way less stressful. Especially when I'm packing up my car. Like when you're packing up your stuff to go to a location for a show or anything, then it's a whole headache, right? And if I could just grab the one box and go, it's so much easier. Okay, so let's see. I have that. And then I do paint and sip parties. So because of that, I offer a service where I will bring tables and chairs and supplies for the party to your location. I used to have my own location, but then honestly, it just started being more lucrative to be a I'll come to your location service than it was for me to pay rent and utilities and insurance and all that on a facility. It's easier, and then it also gives me freedom to be able to travel outside of the county to different locations. So I get different customers everywhere. So it just makes more sense. So I have designated, I would say it's about a quarter of my room is designated into tables and chairs and easels, so all that extra bulk and stuff. Now, when I do these parties, I usually have to make 2 trips, or I have to take a trailer with me to take all my easels and everything, because it's a lot to take, especially if I'm doing a party of 100 people. Usually I'll hire somebody to come and I'll get a U-Haul truck. And people kind of like that when you're like, oh no, I got it. Don't worry. I'll take care of it. You just invite the people and I'll do all the other work. And that's pretty much what they're hiring me to do. So I like it that it is in my attic. So I have to walk down quite a few stairs and that's annoying. But I mean, it is what it is, right? At least I'm not paying storage somewhere else. And I also have a rule with myself that when I'm coming back after doing a show, I like to clean my supplies. And I like to have, I put it away nice and neat and ready to go. So the next time that I have to go and do an activity, then I'm all ready and I can just go. So another thing that I just totally love is that I bought this thing that is a shelf, but it's meant for kitchens. So it's metal and it's quite large. I would say it's about 7 feet tall, and it's I would say about 5 feet wide, so it's long. It's pretty big. It's metal, and it's got wires in it and stuff. So what I did was I put a string up and down, going north and south on it, and it was a rope, and I twisted it. And what that allows me to do is, now that I have it twisted in there and it's all tied down, it's allowing me to be able to put my paintings as they're sideways, right? But then instead of being up and down, they're laying on their side, and then they're able to lean on the rope, and the rope makes it areas, right? And you don't want a lot of your paintings pressing onto other paintings, because you can stretch out canvases. And I always like to put the same type of paintings together, but then it'll only be 10 at the very most paintings leaning just ever so slightly onto the rope. Totally cool. If you want to see pictures of what my art studio looks like, go to my YouTube channel. I have a link. If you go to my bio here, I have a link and it's going to show you, and you'll be able to see videos where I filmed. Now they're only 3-minute little videos where I go through, And my art studio is constantly evolving with my needs. So like sometimes I go through phases where I'm like, I can't paint anymore. I'm so over painting. So then I'll go into like a music phase. I have a piano up there, which is really cool. And I'll hang out and I'll write music. And I have my guitar. And so I have a little space in my art studio that's dedicated for that as well, where I have my instruments. And so and I have a nice cozy chair to sit in that works with no arms so I can play the guitar. And so I like that. That's pretty chill. So another thing that I did that I think is super cool is that I make murals, and the way I taught myself how to do it was just by doing them. And so I painted on my ceiling and all the walls. I've painted murals, different kinds. But the basic idea is that the ceiling is the sky. So I painted space a little bit on one area, and then I tried on the other area. On the other side, I painted like a daylight scene, and they kind of come together. I mean, it's different times of the day, but they kind of just blend into each other with the nighttime area, and then on the other side with the daytime area. And then I went kind of down with the clouds a little bit sideways, but then each wall has a view that is a painting I've painted of what the view would be like if you were on top of a mountain. So for example, the north wall, it's a beach scene. So it's what I would see if I was standing on the mountain looking down onto the ocean and the beach. And then on the south wall, I have a mountain scene where I have flowers and pine trees, and what does the other side of the mountain look like? And then I have a little bit of a desert scene going on. And so it's kind of cool. And I have them so that they're in order a little bit. So it makes sense that there's like one scene kind of flows into another different type of a landscape. And so by doing this, it has allowed me to practice my skills so much on creating murals. And then on top of it, it's really cool. It's pretty ambiance-y. It's I don't know. I like it. So then I have the stairs that get up to the attic. It's almost like it creates its own little hallway, which I remember I told you I have windows. So I have my little hallway there that kind of wraps around with the stairs, and there's windows. But there's still wall space. And so what I did was I kind of made it like you were hiking. The view looks like what you would see if you were hiking down a mountain. So I have a couple of trees, but not so many. It's like you can see the land way down below. And then as it kind of turns, it's kind of a round staircase. I mean, it's not a spiral staircase, but it turns. And as it turns, I've painted on the walls stones, and I made them look as though you're walking into a cave. And it's pretty cool. I like it. I got a little bear. And so it's really cool. So basically what I'm trying to say here is utilize your space well. Take advantage of all your little spots. Don't waste your space. And like everything that is in the attic, when I had my attic, it used to be just storage, and I cleared it all out. I completely gutted the room. I painted the murals, had a good time, and I still paint the murals to this day. Every so often, I'll move the furniture and I'll work on it. It's a always evolving process, and as the years have passed, I'm getting better at doing this. I'm practicing more. But anyways, so I gutted it, did the murals, and then I had this rule with myself that every single thing that I moved into the art space, it had to do something with my business, not my hobby. Okay, so there's a difference there. This is about me trying to have an at-home office, so I don't have to pay rent having an office somewhere else. So it's everything that will further me in my business. So therefore, my hobby is my business, but, sometimes I want to go into a tangent and crochet a blanket, and, I got that stuff in there. It's totally cool. However, I only justified it to myself because I said, you know what, I will allow myself to spend money on buying yarn and the really nice crochet hooks and everything and patterns, and I even have like a couple different little looms that I use that I love, and I justified it to myself because I put out an ad to my followers and I was like, if I taught you how to crochet, would you be interested? And I got a very overwhelming response from my followers. So then I've incorporated that hobby that I had, I incorporated it into my business. And so now I'm like, okay, well, yeah. So I have my looms and everything, and every time I'm going to teach a class, then I'll go buy the yarn. But until I have a class that I'm going to teach, I have the bare minimum of that because I'm more of teaching painting classes than I am with crocheting. I do have a rule with myself that this is my profession, and so I need to spend 8 hours a day is my personal rule for me in the art studio doing stuff. Otherwise, because I don't have to clock in anywhere or be accountable to anybody, then I can spend all day on Netflix. I'm totally guilty on that. Or just hanging outside in the yard gardening, and it's great and I love it. I love my garden. But I got to be diligent, and I got to keep doing what I'm doing, right? So what I did to help me was that I have a nice little couch in my attic that I can sit on that's comfy, cozy. And so even if I'm not creating art and I'm just doing the business aspect, I still feel like I'm invited. Like I'll have my little glass of tea, I'll hang out, put some music on, and I'll get my work done. Because yes, all I want to do is create. And I used to do that, where I would just only create. And that was great. But when I was doing that and I was only creating, the business aspect, I couldn't afford it. Nobody was buying my stuff. I wasn't pushing it. I wasn't trying to sell my art, and I wasn't putting energy into that. So I wasn't making any money. And at that time of my life, I was working for other people. And so I was spending less time on my art, and then I was never doing what I loved. And then in the end of the day, when I look back on it, I'm like, I totally wasted a part of my life being miserable. So I made it inviting. I made it a space that I want to be in. I have my little candle to make the room smell good, and I always have my tea, and just very comfy. And when I first started with my art studio, I decided not to put a couch because I was like, no, this is a place where I need to stay active. But then the further I get with my business, the more I'm like, well, I need to be, answering emails and talking to galleries and doing different things. And being on an uncomfortable chair is not a good moment. And then I start getting annoyed. So yeah, be comfortable in your space. Now, this whole segment is about art studios. What I just showed you was a business art studio. Now I want to talk about a couple other ideas. If you're more hobbyist, you can just do your kitchen table. That's cool. You could do your dining room table, but then when I used to do that, I found myself watching more TV, just doing a living room, having my stuff on the living room table and sitting on the couch. I just fell into the rut of just watching TV. The problem with the kitchen table is that you're constantly having to clean up your supplies, put them away, get them out, put them away. It's a whole headache and a half, and I don't like doing that. I like to have my surface completely ready. All I have to do is pick up my brushes, pick up a paper towel, and start painting away. And then especially if you live with other people, I've had students in the past tell me that their husbands or their children get annoyed that all their art stuff is all over the dining room table and nobody else could use it. Because really, obviously we get lazy at times and it's a big mess, right? So I would encourage you that if this is really something that you would like to do, to actually dedicate yourself a location or a space where you have that you can focus. And also, it's my attic. It's everybody knows in the house that when I'm in the attic, unless you're dying, don't talk to me. So it's my quiet time, kind of, which is great. And I find that it's really healthy for me to have a moment in my day where I'm able to focus and get all the jobs that I need done. So, and then, I feel that when in the past, when I have created art where I don't have a designated location, then those places, I felt that, oh no, I destroyed the carpet, or, oh, I messed up the table or something. And then I'm cautious and I'm thinking in the back of my mind, don't spill the paint. And because I'm having that in my brain, I'm not being fully in the moment of the creation of what I'm doing. And then I get distractions too, like from people like, hey, can you cook me dinner? And all these distractions, where is now that I have a designated space and I've blocked out my time of the day too, so that, I'm a mom, so I cook dinner and all that and I figure it all out, but I still have my moment of time where she's doing her homework and there's things going on and I can still be able to focus on me for a minute and what I'm doing. So, and then she focuses on her. And of course, now my kid is in high school, so she doesn't need me like a toddler would need me all the time. When she was a toddler, that was the time of my life where I was painting on my living room table and I'd have my supplies because, I have the baby running around, got to take care of her. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions or anything, please send me a message. Also, too, I don't know if you know this, but I am all over all of social media. And I have a lot of cool groups. For example, I have one group that's on my website, and it's a social media platform that I made in code. And I coded it all out in the computer, and it's a social media network. And so all of my friends, and my students and everybody come together and talk on it. So this is not an ad to say, hey, go sign up. What I'm trying to tell you is if you would like to see other art studios and see some photos and talk to other people, this is a good place to go because my students are very active in the community of confetti on my website. And everybody's got their own little bios, and a lot of people are showing what their art studios look like. And there's a lot of cool stuff in there. I've got a lot of chapters going on and lots of different conversations going on in there. And the way I set it up in the code, it's not like you need to have a lot of followers either. So everybody's voice, everybody gets their 15 minutes of fame on the platform. And every time you post, you get another 15 minutes of fame. So everybody sees everything, and you don't have to have followers to see your stuff. So if you would like to go there and to promote your art, go ahead and do that. Sign up, show your art, show what you're doing, and everybody's going to see it. You're going to have a moment. I don't censor anything at all. I only censor things, and I will delete posts that are malicious and negative for the sake of being horrible, nasty, rotten. I do encourage constructive criticism, but if somebody's really super bad, I'm going to kill you and be all grotesque about it and everything, then I'm going to delete that. But if you want to go and advertise your art, go ahead. So it's called Confetti, and you'll find it on my website, motleymuseart.com. The link to my website is in my bio of this podcast. And then just go there. You'll find it at the top of the website, in the category section. And then also if you scroll down too, you'll see it. So it's a picture of a lady typing on her phone and little emojis and stuff like that. You'll see it. There will be a button right there, and it'll open it up. And I am going to post everything that we just talked about now with the art studio and my little setups. I'm going to go take a whole bunch of photos and a little bit of a video so you can see what I was talking about. Yeah, and if you have any questions, just go there, type them in. I have notifications on my phone, so I'll be able to see them right away. And as always, thank you so much for hanging out and sharing your voice and being a part of this loving artistic community. And I look forward to checking out your art. So please send me a link so I can see what you got going on. I'm trying to create this happy, fun family. And so far, I mean, it's quite cool to see. I mean, I've got like several 100,000 people around the world that are just loving this. So, I mean, yeah, thank you so much for being a part of this loving family. And, I will see you on the next podcast.